What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fright School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm finally getting around here to see this stuff for myself, and I said when I build my console killer build that particular build could trade blows with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, the PS5 Pro got a GPU update. There was a lot of hype from the hyper PlayStation fans. They did their thing. They, hyped the they hyped the device way higher than it needed to be hyped. And at the end of the day, many of them, pretty much found themselves in a really strange position. Even the chief engineer of PlayStation had to come out and correct a lot of the misinformation out there. And one thing about video games is some games are just beefier than some others. You guys also remember, if you've been following this fiasco, that Alan Wake 2 came into the purview when Digital Foundry went ahead and did their analysis on the game and realized that this game, for it to run even on parity with the 4070, which was what they had first, in a sense, hypothesized, they had to basically go back and scale the resolution down. And when I mean scale the resolution down, I'm talking they had to go all the way to about 800 and something, by something, which would match the console resolution. I think they had to do it with a mod. But for some strange reason, I'm seeing the developers actually, they have it now here in the PC version of the game, which I just recently got. And I fired up the game. I was making the same video, but the beginning was just so weird. I mean, it's one of these weird kinds of games. So again, it is what it is. However, at native resolution, one of the craziest things that you see is this game is very, very tasking. Like the game's optimization, ladies and gentlemen, is not well used. The developers did not budget a lot for this game. So this game running all over the place requires you to have a juicy and a beefy device to be able to pretty much render the game to the best your hardware can do. And this particular, PC, let's go ahead and look at the specs real quick, because I think that's something that, will probably help a lot of people get some perspective as to what in the heck I'm talking about. It's running Windows 10. I just want it to be on Windows 10. Let's get into this stinking place real quick. More details. View, file, advanced. Fewer details. Let's go to the advanced thing for task manager, and then I'll show you the build for this. Okay, here we are. 5800X 3D CPU and a GPU 6750 XT AMD Radeon. And at the end of the day, I'm using only 16 gigs of RAM. Maybe more RAM will probably give me a little bit more in terms of a boost in FPS. But at the end of the day, this is just so wild. Any witnesses on the crime, blah, 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 blah. There's still talk going on out here. But in running through a lot of this stuff, I've realized that this game is just super beefy. Did the creative director put himself in here? Did he self-insert? Oh, is that a normal thing that he does? Okay. How do we get there? That's real simple. Just through the hole in the fence around the corner is a convenience store. You can't miss it. Okay, anyways. In firing up the game, I realized that the game was running at like 41, 45 FPS at the beginning scene. And then as, the game starts to pretty much go in terms of progress, one thing you realize is the game just gives you a little bit more of a, oh yeah, you really got to have beefier setup to go ahead and run this game at native resolution. But it's really interesting, though, that this thing right now, we don't even have for the PS5 Pro. When they launched the PS5 Pro, I'm going to skip this, get lost. They didn't even, take the time. This is indoors. Indoors usually give you higher FPS, but it's not a good way to measure if a game has like, all kinds of stuff. It's not a good way to measure your performance in an objective, manner, if you get what I mean. So it's one of those things. But outdoors, you guys saw that FPS at like 36. But when you think about it, the frame time already betrays the game, because the frame time for this game is so it's so borderline poor. Your frame time to be able to keep 60 FPS has got to be at 16 milliseconds. If you look very carefully on this scene, even indoors, the frame time is still trapped at 17, 18 milliseconds. Now, more could have been done to get the game to run at 60 FPS for many devices, but I just believe the developers wanted to go for a cinematic quality, and they felt that their game was in the right place, and they went ahead and launched. If not, more could have been done to balance this game out and let it perform much better while losing a lot of visual fidelity. Okay, we're back outside and we're looking over here like 30, 40 FPS and such. Let's move on. And it's still giving a similar performance in terms of being outdoors and all of that. And I got to tell you, man, ladies and gentlemen, this is one heck of a game. This is one heck of a game if it's performing like this. And it's a cinematic game. It's not even like an action game. I guess they just wanted a lot more quality, and we're just not at the place. Maybe if with a better GPU, I'll be able to get a little bit more out of it. Let's go ahead and change some of the modes. Let's leave native 1440 with FSR2. I think that might also, be upscaled in a very interesting way as well. So let's do some quality. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that now gives you a little bit more in terms of performance. So you're like 55 FPS. Keep in mind that the resolution is still somewhat higher than even what I think the Pro was pretty much put at. I mean, it's a weird game. The frame time at around 17, 18, 19 FPS to me continues to just tell you that, man, they wanted to stop here when it came to actually having their game optimized and where the game, was from a visual perspective. And so that's what you're seeing here. Okay, you're not able to get 60 FPS or so. Which I need to look at the most recent numbers where the PS5 Pro is. But again, this is one of the things about a console and a PC is, you can't continue to put both of them in the same box. It's not a fair fight because you can literally swap one item and then everything could quickly change, if you get what I mean, on a PC. Whereas on a console, you're kind of stuck with the hardware that you've been given. So just going in here and looking at everything, I'm like, yeah, this seems like this is probably the performance that we can expect. Perhaps maybe when you get to the much more tasking place, you get to see some really, interesting stuff at the end of the day. Interesting. You got to say, though, the detail in this game, like the character models and stuff, is insane. All right, get me out of here. Interesting. Anyways, that's about it for me. I have to play Alan Wake 1, so I don't spoil this one too much for myself. But again, I just thought I'd come around and, actually put my coins where my mouth is to make sure that I'm just not, looking at everybody else's data set and not testing it out for myself. But you can already see that this game is just something of a monster. And there's still some optimization work that needs to be done at the end of the day. I mean, the frame time gives it away. But still, if the PS5 Pro was not able to compare with it can't even compete on this level right now with a 6750 XT, then again, you see the limitations of hardware from a cost perspective. And, the CPU is a whole different conversation. I mean, again, this is the problem that a lot of people talked about, that PlayStation could have leveraged improving the CPU as well, and them charging $700 for that was just, in my opinion, quite interesting at the end of the day. All right, I'll get out of your hair. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience, and talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.